So it starts with this question: who will be your client? And at the moment when you think of clients, and in your head immediately pops up these people that you always work with, people in neighborhoods, people having problems, people being poor, people being without jobs. Then you think, they won't pay me. They will never pay me. So, and I think they won't. So then you have to become creative. Are there other people who are able to pay you, and that you also feel that you have something of value that you can offer them?
Hi guys, and welcome back to Rich Social Worker. In this video, I get to interview Anneke Krakers, who in her home country of the Netherlands is a renowned social worker and entrepreneur. Over the years, she's trained thousands of social workers to be entrepreneurial, and her newest venture, she's focused on seniors, coaching them to be their best selves by creating businesses of their own. Now, we had such a great conversation that I had to split this video up into two parts. So please be sure to watch both and like each one so that the YouTube algorithm can make sure that more and more people see it. I think you're really gonna like this interview because in it, Anneke gets really transparent, not only about how she was able to make her money, but how she was able to write out a really challenging time in her life and how having the money that she was able to earn helped her during that time. So I really encourage you to watch both parts 1 and 2. And please let me know in the comments, let us know in the comments what came up for you. All right, guys, so without further ado, here's the interview. Anneke, thank you so much for being here. I love you. I can't wait to, it's amazing that we actually haven't physically met in person because you just reminded me we've known each other and been in communication since 2014, which I think is amazing.
Yeah, it is.
Do you remember how we connected? Who connected with whom?
Yeah, I remember very well because in 2014, I had two goals at the beginning of the year. Goal number 1 was to write my book. And I did. It was published on my birthday in June 2014. And it's a book about marketing and positioning yourself as a social worker in the market field. So it's a book about marketing for social workers. And when that one was finished, my second goal was to make my global leap. And I was in a community of other entrepreneurs, and they did it before me, making their global leap. And I said, well, can I make mine too? But then every time I felt, no, because my English is not good. And I would feel shame, and I would be scared to show up and speak English. So at 24, I said, this year I'm going to do it. And I started in the second half of 2014, very with baby steps. And I started with a one-page website with some English content on it. And then I posted on LinkedIn. In English, and I posted in some social worker groups, international groups, also in English. And I remember that was the way that you, Eva, that you found me.
Really?
And, yeah, really. And I was so scared. Because posting in groups and writing, well, there was a little bit scary, but speaking and meeting, that was really. And then you asked, well, shall we meet online on Skype? And Anneke, say yes. And Papa said, no, say yes. And I did it. And I remember very well, Eva, that we were on the screen like now, and we talked about what we have in common, being a social worker. We both were a fan of Marie Folio. We talked about B
Yes.
School. Yeah, I
Yes.
remember. And then at one moment you said, Anneke, you are my sister. And to be honest, I have two brothers, and I always wanted to have a sister. But here in my country, people are not that spontaneous, are not that enthusiastic. So meeting you and the first time saying we are sisters, it felt so good, Eva. So from that moment on, I immediately start loving you and cherishing our friendship, and so that's how it went.
Oh my, thank you for sharing that. That brings back such good memories. I don't remember the beginning of, connecting on LinkedIn, but I do remember our first conversation. And I remember my mind being blown because you talked about how you are a social worker, entrepreneur, making the six figures, and you seem to me to be very comfortable with it. Like, I make a lot of money and I'm a social worker and I'm very well known in the Netherlands and I'm amazing, and but I help other social workers be amazing. Like, this is what you do. And I thought, that's exactly the path I'm on. And your spirit was just so sweet, and you were just so warm and welcoming. So I'm glad I said that, because I know that's truly how I feel now. Mm-hmm. So even in just having this conversation, it's been so good. And we ended up writing an article together that ended up in the Huffington Post. When was that? Do you remember what year that was? We can find it on. In fact, I'll link to it below. I don't know. But the article I remember was social workers stop asking for money.
Yeah.
Do this instead. And I don't remember how that came about. Do you?
Yeah, I do.
Tell us the story. I'm using you to help jog my memory.
Well, for me, the reason that I wanted to make my global leap was because I started my business in 2006. So when we met, I was already several years being a social worker entrepreneur, helping other social workers to become also an entrepreneur, become more entrepreneurial. And in the beginning years, I worked mostly for organization. They hired me as a coach and a trainer or a speaker to work with their social workers who were there on a day job. So, and after that, I think it was around 2012 that I started working with social workers who wanted to have their own business. Mm-hmm. And at one moment, and I really saw the struggle of these social workers, and I recognized my own struggle, because my first years as an entrepreneur, I was a lousy entrepreneur. It was a huge struggle. I did not make any money. I made all kind of mistakes. But that changed, and I felt these social workers who want to become an entrepreneur too, I can help you. Don't make the mistakes that I made. And so I was starting helping social workers here in my country. And then I knew, and that's why I love social workers. I love being a social worker. We have a profession, and we are all over the world, in Mongolia, Nepal, Japan, everywhere you can find social workers, and everywhere we are the same kind of people with a big heart wanting to help people, but also with the same struggle. So the struggle social workers in America, social work in the Netherlands or in Mongolia, it's the same, not having enough money. not having, and always having this struggle with money, having a low salary, being afraid of money. And when you want to start working in your own business, can I make a living of it? How can I earn money on people's needs? So it's always around money. And I felt, well, I have solved this one. So I really want to help other social workers all around the world. So that was my global leap. And I remember when we met and in our later conversations, when we talked about money and your concept of the rich social worker, the first time I read it, I think, the rich social worker? Huh?
That's usual, the general. Actually, initially, even when we met and a little before, people were offended when they heard rich social worker. It was offensive to people, and people outright told me, like, no, those don't go together. I don't like it. And these are social workers.
Yeah. But after that, I found it, what's the word? Genius, fantastic, awesome. Yeah, because I think that's what it is. And when we talked about what the word rich meant to you, and you shared about abundance, following your dreams, having the things that you need in your life, taking care of your family, and not talking about having a castle by the sea or something. It might be, it's okay too. But it's about very basic needs that we all have rights to earn a decent amount of money, because our work is so valuable.
Yeah.
And being aware of that and calling that the rich social worker, I think is really awesome. So we started talking about money, and we had the same feelings and we had the same insights. That's when we said, okay, let's write this article together, because bringing this message into the world of social workers together, for me, it made it a very strong message, a very strong appeal to social workers. Look at your money mindset, work on it, do something about it. Yeah.
And as you were, recounting that, I also remember the conversations that we were having, kind of leading into the conversation about maybe a frustration that so many social workers were complaining, but not doing anything about it. So they were complaining that, oh, we don't get paid enough and people don't respect us, and kind of what the ramifications of that were, which is just you just get more of the same, you perpetuate the same thing. And so I remember our conversation being, wow, social workers really need to kind of take ownership and responsibility for their money mindset and for the results that they're getting, and look at the abundance of skills and the abundance of, just knowledge that they have themselves, and market them. Do you still have your, I know your book still exists, and I think it was in English as well. Is that correct? Oh,
I'm so sorry. No, it's in Dutch. It's still available, but it's in Dutch. Yeah.
We'll have to figure out how my mostly English speaking audience can access all of that, because that's so good. So, all right. So I wanted to have this conversation because, again, you were the first person that I saw that, that was speaking to social workers about money and helping them to become entrepreneurial. So I would love to hear maybe some of the, like, what comes up for social workers in your experience when they enter this conversation. I know for me, I'm often, approached with social workers who say, well, I didn't know that we could do that. Or, I don't want to be a therapist. And you don't have to be a therapist to be an entrepreneur. And they just come with a lot of blocks, like I did. as
Mhm.
well when I first started. But you know, you're way ahead of me in this. So I'd love to hear from you in your experience. What are some of the common blocks that social workers come to you with?
Well, I recognize the things that you just shared, and what I see is that when social workers think about becoming an entrepreneur, that their reverence is too small, because when you have a job in helping people and these people don't pay you for that, because most clients we met as a social worker are not in the circumstances that they can pay you $100 an hour for your help. And so when you think of, well, how can they pay me? They don't have money. Then you think about making this change into the entrepreneurial world. But your mind shift has to start shifting too into other creative business models. So being an entrepreneur is not just doing the same work as that you're doing in your day job, and not getting a salary but asking the people that you're helping for money. No, you have to be creative on how you can use your skills and your talent in another kind of frame. So you have to come out of the box of the traditional social work, out of that box, and become creative on business models. And I think that is the main thing that I see, that when social workers don't make that shift and really keep thinking of the traditional social work, that won't fit into a good business model. Do you recognize it?
Yeah, I think for me, I had that myself.
Mm-hmm.
Just how do I make this shift, and what skills and abilities do I have that I can charge for?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and figuring out too, what is a business model, and what does that mean for me? How do I? What is this business model thing, and what do I do with it? How do I fit into this?
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
that something that comes up for social workers as well that you
Yeah.
connect with?
Yeah, and what I started doing is helping social workers coming up with a valuable and a profitable business model, and I created a system of 7 steps. And the first step is it's a building block of your business model. So there are 7 building blocks, and the
Mhm.
first one, I think, is the most important one, and that's the question: who will be your client?
Mhm.
Who will be the person that you want to market to, that you want to have a conversation with, and that you want to say, I know you, I know what's keeping you up at night, and I'm here to help you. And when I help you, I want to send you for that an invoice. So, and the last one is send an invoice. I remember sending my own first invoice. It was really a huge step, but I did it. And then I was surprised that they paid me and that there was the money coming in on my bank account. Yeah, they paid me.
Yeah, yeah. It is a good feeling.
Yeah, it's a really good feeling. So it starts with this question: who will be your client? And when, at the moment when you think of clients, and in your head immediately pops up these people that you always work with, people in neighborhoods, people having problems, people being poor, people being without jobs, then you think, huh, they won't pay me, they will never pay me. So, and I think they won't. So then you have to become creative. Are there other people who are able to pay you, and that you also feel that you have something of value that you can offer them? So, well, for me, my business model, after the first years, I was struggling. I created something on a website, and I wanted to have paid ads on the website, and I thought that I could live from these ads. So it was horrible. It was
Yeah.
really horrible. And then at one moment, I realized that I have this vision about social workers, and having this vision and having a strong vision, and that when I can speak about it, or when I can organize a training or a workshop or a training program or a coaching program, so that's when I found my business model. And being a trainer or a coach or a speaker is one of the most common and most profitable business models. So at that moment it changed for me. So I was not in the field of being a social worker helping people in need, but for me it felt very good that helping social workers in need of their entrepreneurial dreams and their roadblocks. I felt when I can help social workers and they become more entrepreneurial, and when you become more entrepreneurial, you can increase your impact. My impact
Exactly.
has increased immense, really immense. And so then they can help other people, and when it's going fine with these people, they can help other people. So it's a kind of multiplying. I don't know.
Yeah, multiplying.
Multiplying your impact. So, and at that moment, I thought, well, this is my business. This is what I want to do. So think of who will be your client. Will they pay your bill? Will they pay your invoice? And what can you do for them to create impact so that you still can follow your social work hard in making this world a better place? So that's what it is.
I think too, like the conversations that I have with social workers often, you know, I because for me, a mistake that I made, I think, was, you know, like I started thinking, oh, I can, you know, have this big business that gets all of these contracts for social workers, and we can be national and then we can be international. And I started there.
Mm-hmm.
And what I tell social workers now is to start small. start where you are. Who can pay you right now? Because you want to be. I think also a mistake that I made that I hope no one else makes is that I quit my job thinking that I could do this and had no income coming in. So the things that I want social workers to know is don't quit your day job, but also to reinforce what you just said is when you start to think about who can pay you, don't look for the clients that you have right now, whose bills are being subsidized maybe by a government program or something like that. Look for people who actually have money. There's a video that I have on the channel as well. It's actually the most popular video I have on the channel right now, called "You Don't Need a License in Social Work." And in it, you know, that grabs people's attention because in the States, I don't know about in the Netherlands, but in the US, licensing is, you know, it's a big topic and everyone is encouraged to get their license. But it came because I had a conversation with a social worker who had failed her licensing exam 3 times, and was thinking that she needed her license to be attractive, to actually use her design skills to help design therapeutic spaces. And she wanted her clients to be people who need therapy to pay her. And I was saying, maybe those people can't pay you if likely they need therapy and haven't been able to access it. But therapists can pay you.
Love it.
So you still get to design your therapeutic space. You don't need a license to do that, but you're still helping the population.
Yeah, love that. In my country, we do not do licensing. We do not need licenses. So that's a little bit different. And I totally agree on your advice. Don't quit your day job until you're ready. So I started in 2006. Then it started going fine from 2009. And I quit my job in 2011. So
Yes.
it was my journey.
Yes.
And then it really started going fine in 2013, 14, 15, 16, and so on.
That's a great perspective, I think, for anybody listening, that, you know, it might take time. Everybody's business and journey is different, of course, but do you mind talking about the money? So when you say that, you know, it really got going, I love my audience to hear what that felt like and looked like, you know, on a financial level.